Oi, you know what time it is? You're tuned in listening to Dry That Aussie Metal Guy. Make sure to hit that like and subscribe button so you don't miss any of his content when it drops. And remember, stay brutal, you mad dogs. Roof!
G'day, how you all going? It's Jai, that Aussie metal guy here with crank.com. So tonight, wherever you are in the world, it's great pleasure that I'm getting to have a chat with Dale Stewart about their latest album, which is the ninth studio album from Seether, The Surface Seems So Far. It is an absolutely amazing album and is clearly a testament to the band's enduring talent and creativity. Dale, thank you so much for joining me again for another chat. As I mentioned, it was about 3 years ago. So thank you so very much for getting a chat with me again about this album.
Yeah, no problem, man. Nice to talk to you again.
That's it. It's been 3 years, man. So how have the last three
Yeah.
years been for you guys? It's been fairly busy. How do you maintain it all? Another album and the deluxe album and the everything else you've got going on?
It's been a little bit busy. Yeah, man, the world kind of got a little crazy in the meantime. But yeah, we've just been doing our thing. I had two kids in that time, so I've now got an almost 3-year-old and a 1-year-old. So that complicates things further. But yeah, man, as far as the music goes, we just we're still doing Seether stuff, just keep on plugging away the little engine that could. And yeah, just can't believe we're still doing it after 25 years, basically. It's crazy.
Yeah, it's still reaching amazing audiences. It's a good time at around three. I've got three kids of my own. When they get there, they'll
Okay.
probably start noticing you up on the screen and stuff like that. And it's like, that'd be a pretty good feeling. Can you tell me
Yeah,
a little bit?
when I'm
Oh, you go.
yeah, and I was gonna say when I'm on tour and stuff, my wife will put on like YouTube videos and things, and like they'll be like, "Dada, there he is," So it's kind of cool to that they can see me a little bit while I'm gone. So yeah,
And lots of video calls back home. Can you tell
yeah,
me a
for
little
sure.
bit about the songwriting process for this album, in particular your bass orchestration?
Yeah, when it comes to bass, I just I like to try and do what's best for the song. Um, I think as a bass player, it's kind of your job to um, not overplay, and it's kind of a tempting thing to do. Pull out your best Billy Sheehan riffs and go ape. But I feel like it's whatever is going to serve the song best, at least in our kind of band. Yeah, so I just try and do, be tasteful, be melodic. I'm a guitar player, turn bass player, so I still think a little bit in those terms. Um, but yeah, I just, I always try and retain a sense of melody, try and contribute to the song instead of trying to stand out, try and make the song better if you can, and don't take away from, a guitar part or a vocal or a melody or anything like that. So, just trying to stay within those, color within the lines type thing.
Yeah, so can you tell me a little bit about the inspiration behind the album and in particular the title, The Surface Seems So Far?
Yeah, I think Sean obviously did all the lyrics and that, and I think a lot of these songs, it is a pretty dark album, and I think a lot of these songs kind of started, or the sentiments kind of started, towards the tail end of our last album, our last studio album, and that was right as COVID hit. So we finished this album, we were excited about it, we're like, cool, let's get on the road and tour the world, and they're like, boom, no, world's locked down, you can't do anything. So took the wind out of our sails a little bit, as did everyone else. We didn't know what to expect, but and then it just dragged on and on and on, and I think we started getting really frustrated with the whole situation, and I think that frustration kind of found its way into the music, and so I think a lot of this music comes from that time. And then there's plenty of other stuff to be pissed off about as well, I guess. But I think that's kind of where it started, and kind of where the theme started. So and I guess the title encapsulates the whole thing. Sometimes when you get that feeling, can I ever get out of this? Am I ever going to get to the surface? The surface seems so far. But I'm still kind of, maybe I'm the optimist in the band, to Sean's pessimism, maybe like a yin and a yang type thing. And I like to think of the title as, um, if you look at the artwork, the surface seems so far, but her eyes are above the surface, and her nose is under. But I mean, she's kind of made it to the surface, so it's almost like, hey, the surface seems so far, but it's not a lost cause. It's attainable. So keep trying, you'll get there, and it'll get better. There's relief, on the horizon. So I guess it can be taken either way, whether you're a coffee half empty or a coffee half full type guy.
Yes, I am definitely a coffee drinker these days. I don't drink
Yeah.
anymore, but that's something you guys have always been really good at, talking about mental health and with the suicide prevention and all the stuff you were doing with Rise Above Fest for 10 years.
Yeah.
And your music has always tackled these dark themes, but I feel like there's a positivity, as you touched on it right there. The head's just above the water. And you can be going through these really tough, challenging times. And I know everyone's going through a lot. I recently did as well. And your band was one of the ones that I used to go to for music. There was like a handful of bands that I'd play, and I was going right through a bad health battle with cancer treatment, stage 4 cancer. Went through all of that. So at the time, the surface does seem so far away, but it is there. It is attainable. And you just got to stick your head above the water a little bit.
Sure.
Pushing through, you know what I mean?
Yeah. Well, looks like you're doing well, so that's awesome.
I'm definitely doing a lot better. What was the
Glad to
recording
see it.
process like? And you got Sean again doing the production as well with Matt, so it must be a little bit easier to do it all in-house too.
It is, and it's like, hey, we're getting the team back together, and we're like a well-oiled machine at this point. And then with Sean producing, it's like old school garage days. There's no producer sort of wagging his finger like, no, that's too heavy, or no, let's change that, or kind of putting the finger on the scale. It's whatever we want to do, anything goes. So it's a fun way to record. There's no real pressure because it's just us dudes, shooting the shit in the studio, just hanging out. Matt's one of the guys now. He's like the fifth band member basically. So yeah, man, we just get in there. Corey, our guitar player, he's a good producer in his own right. So we have his insights, him and Matt. Us as a band, we've been doing this a long time. Sean with his, producing experience and all the things we've learned along the years. So it's a pretty well-oiled, streamlined process, I think. And I feel like each album we do, we do it a little bit more efficiently and there's maybe a little bit less pressure because I feel maybe like we're not trying to prove ourselves as much anymore. I feel like, okay, we've kind of proved ourselves. Now we just, making music that we'd want to listen to as fans or that we'd want to hear. So, that second album, it's stressful, man. You're like, what if everyone hates it? What if this? What if the label drops us? And now we can just kind of make music that we think's cool and the pressure's off a little bit. And I think that helps the creative process a little bit.
Yeah, well, talking about that, coming from looking back now at that and to where you are, how do you feel the band's sound has evolved and grown to where you guys are today?
Yeah, I think it's changed a little bit, but it's still very much Seether. I think when a Seether song comes on, it's quite recognizable. A lot of that is Sean's voice. He's got a very distinct voice, but just the melody and juxtaposed with maybe the heavy stuff and just maybe the guitar sounds and bass sounds, things like that. I think we still sound like us. I think we definitely a band who's kind of stuck to our roots. Some bands, each album you don't know what you're gonna get. Like, oh, now we're doing like a hip hop feel, and now it's like a punk thing, and next one's going to be metal. It's just kind of a little all over the place, like whatever's popular at the moment. And we've never sort of bowed to any kind of trends. We just do what we do, and yeah, it's served us well. I mean, it has changed a little bit, but I'd like to think maybe the songs are a little bit better, a little bit more maturity in the writing and just the overall sound. Maybe the songs are a little bit more clever, a little bit little bit more well thought out, structured a little bit better. It's just things you learn along the way. Just I don't want to say tips and tricks, but just I think it's like anything. Um, if you're a roofer, after you've been roofing for 20 years, like you learn shortcuts and things that work well, and you toss out the stuff that's not working, and you sort of streamline your process, and now you can do a better job quicker. And I think it's the same with music, with anything really.
Just face any major challenges with this album, or was it fairly easy to kind of make?
I think it was fairly easy to make. Yeah, I think we went into studio and we knocked it out. Basically, all in all, I think took about maybe just under 3 weeks for everything. Then the mixing and everything, that takes more time than the recording. But yeah, the label was really cool. They basically said, look, we believe in you guys. Just give us an album. We look forward to hearing it, and let us do basically what it is we wanted to do, and didn't really interfere. And again, I guess being a band that's sort of proven ourselves now, we don't have the A&R guy, coming in the studio every day, every other day. Hey, play me what you guys did. Yeah, no, we got to redo that. We got to, and it's a little demoralizing when you're working really hard and someone's kind of telling you how shit it is, and you're like, dude, we've put in all this work. And we've had that in the past, as a younger band, but yeah, our label now is super cool that they believe in us. They let us do what it is we want to do, and they're supportive, and they're really behind us, and yeah, so it's I think all in all, it's been a pretty smooth, pretty positive experience on this album. So yeah, it's cool.
Yeah, the lead single that you just did release off it was Judas Mind. Tell us a little
Mm.
bit about that single and why you just kind of went with that one as the first one off of the album.
Yeah, I think we wanted to come out of the gate swinging a little bit. It's nice to have a heavy single. It's kind of a funny thing. The longer you're in a band, uh, or the longer you're in our kind of band, where you have some heavy stuff, and then got the odd sort of ballad and so on. Um, the slower stuff usually tends to be a single, because those are the ones the label like to send to radio. Like, oh, they'll play this. It's got acoustic on it. They're not going to play the heavy stuff with all the screaming. So by default, you get all these singles that are the middle of the road, or like maybe the mellow songs. And then those are the songs that people want to hear when they come to your show. So you end up playing all the kind of more chilled out songs. And before you know it, you're like, oh, we're kind of not a mellow band, but we're not this angry, screamy, pissed off band we were when we were kids. Um, and after 20 years, the set's full of the kind of chilled songs. So it's cool to have a couple singles that are heavy again. So like, opening the set with Judas Mine, super heavy riff, and got some good screams in there, and it's a single too, and it did well. So yeah, so it's cool to have another heavy one in the repertoire. It's not exactly why we did it. We also wanted to be like, boom, we're back, here we go. Something that's going to stand out at radio, and catch people's attention. So I think it served all those purposes. I think people liked it. I think when it came on the radio, people were like, what's that? It's the new Seether. Oh, it's heavy. I wonder what the rest of the album's like. And it's a heavy album, so it's I think a good indication of what to expect from the new album. So yeah, I think it was a good sort of lead track.
It definitely was a good lead track, and it does have these different themes and emotions. I'm an album person, dude, so I kind of
Yeah,
dug the whole album, and I love how you guys
thank you.
still make the whole albums, but just also have these singles which you can pull off it. But to get the most out of this, it's a
Yeah,
really great album, and it does
thank you.
tackle different themes as well. Like I've got like self-reflection with Same Mistakes. Dead on the Vine was kind of a really emotional track, and
Mm.
then the melancholy to kind of round it out with Regret, and it does have those really heavy tracks like Judas Mine, so it must be fun to kind of bust those out and play them live. But is there any tracks that kind of really stuck out for you and you're really kind of have a special place for you off of this album?
Yeah, I think Let Me Heal was one that stuck out for me. Also, Walls Come Down, which is our current single. In the States, I don't know if it's been released in Australia yet as a single, but that song, I think from the get-go stuck out to me. It's a little different to everything else, but it's just one of those songs that's like super simple. Um, it's basically like a two-chord song, but I think because it's so simple and straightforward, um, it's got a real vibe to it. Like it's a real vibe song. It just kind of keeps going. It's got a good beat, and yeah, I don't know. There's just something catchy. That would be the one song that, if we're listening to mixes and things like that, that's the song I'd end up like driving home, humming in my head. And that's always a good sign. If there's a song that's stuck in your head, like boom, there's your earworm. That's got to be a single at some point. So I'm super excited that song's a single, but yeah, just something a little different for us, yeah, definitely a catchy one. Yeah.
Yeah, so ending out the year. New Year's, you've got any shows announced? Have you got anything planned kind of in support for this album? Any chances of maybe getting you guys back down under at some time in 2025 would be unreal.
It would be. We did a couple tours this year, just stateside. We're done for the year now, but
Yeah.
we'll probably pick up touring in spring again. No plans. Spring in Northern Hemisphere. No plans yet to come to Australia, but I'm hoping we can in 2025. If not, maybe 26, because we'll probably tour another at least year and a half on this album. So I'd personally love to come down there again. It's always a great time. I got a lot of friends in Australia's full of South Africans, so I got a lot of friends that have moved down there, and actually New Zealand as well. And that's a place we normally hit while we in the area, so to speak. So I'd love to make it down there. No solid plans though, but yeah, if we can't get there in 25, hopefully 26 we'll make it down again.
Come down and watch a game of cricket.
Yeah.
You obviously watch cricket. You're South African.
I grew up. Yeah, I grew up
and
watching cricket.
rugby union and stuff like that.
Sure, absolutely. Yeah.
Do you ever sit
I
back
haven't
there in
watched
the
for
US
years.
playing the cricket and going, "Oh, this is what we're fucking watching"?
No, every now and again on like a weird obscure sport channel, they'll be like, "Oh, cricket," like SA versus India or something. I'm like, "Oh, no way!" I'll put it on. It's like a 5-day test, and my wife's like, "How do you watch this crap?" And I'm like, "Hey, man, like it's." And she always tells me, she's like, "What's that movie? Fantastic Mr. Fox." They've got this little game they're playing. I'm trying to explain cricket to her. She's like, "Sounds like on Fantastic Mr. Fox." I'm trying to explain that overly complicated like game that they play, with all the weird words and stuff. And I can imagine when you grew up watching baseball and things, cricket and wickets and creases and bowling and slips and everything else, like all these weird words I've never heard of. It's a little confusing, but I grew up playing cricket, and it's something I don't watch. It's not really available on TV here, and I'm so out of the loop. But yeah, I grew up playing cricket, rugby, all the real sports. And I've just haven't managed to get into American sports. Yeah, just not my cup of tea.
They have to get the kids young, man. That was something we always like. It was second nature to us. We just knew the rules: rugby, union, league, cricket. It was just, it was just our game. Anyway, I could talk all day about all of that, Dale. This has been an absolute pleasure, my friend. Thank you
Thanks,
so
man.
very much for joining me. Do you have any last words, shout outs, thank yous, or anything else you'd like to add in there?
Yeah, just thanks to everyone who's been there, along the way, supported us, allowed us to, play music for a living and do what we love doing, and for buying the albums. And yeah, just thank you, all the Seether fans. We love you guys, and hope to see the Australian ones sooner than later.
That's it. You hit the nail on the head. Everybody go out and buy the bloody album. The Surface seems so far
Yes.
through Fantasy Records. It is the 9th studio album. Crank it up really loud. The neighbours are going to want to hear it too. Cheers, Dale.
Yes. Cheers, man.
Oi, you're tuned in to Jai That Aussie Metal Guy, so make sure to hit that like and subscribe button so you don't miss any of his sick content. And remember, stay brutal, you legend.